Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON Sydney and Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, thanks to all the devotees for joining tonight for the Bhagavatam class. We are so fortunate to have you all here to sing the glories of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. As you know that we are all going through Bhagavatam at the moment, chapter by chapter in a story form. I'm going to cover chapter 18 and 19 today and tomorrow, 2 days, and we'll go through both the chapters. So chapter 18 is actually, if you look at the title of chapter 18, it's about Maharaj Parikshit being cursed by the Brahmana boy. And also chapter 19 is when he was cursed, he left everything, and then the appearance of Shukdev Goswami, who actually delivered the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. So that's those two chapters cover those topics. So before we go through these chapters one by one, today and tomorrow, let's sing Shri Jai Radha. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodhanandan Braj Jana Ranjan Yashodhanandan Braj Jana Ranjan Yamuna Tira Vanchari Yamuna Tira Vanchari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodhanandan Braj Jana Ranjan Yashodhanandan Braj Jana Ranjan Yamuna Tira Vanchari Yamuna Tira Vanchari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jai Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Shri Jai Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Shri Jai Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Jai Gurudev Gurudev तो श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जोर से मंत्र Hare Krishna. Before starting, let's do Mangalasharan. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnanajnashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Apitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yutpad Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanditam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpataro Bhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sripasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mahadve Yai Mahapuro Vidhu Nirmayashete Yadmosha Purusha Tungte Gunansha Dashodashatmaka Tolam Krishishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Ve Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Kathamritam Satatapivatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panthanam Sarvalok Rishi Devajan Prasannam Sarvalok Rishi Devajan Prasannam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirahe Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Tyam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Hare Krishna once again. Welcome to today's Bhagavatam. This is 18, where chapter 18 of Maharaj, when Maharaj Parikshit got cursed. It's a very the incident itself is we have a lot of learnings coming out of this whole chapter. The whole Bhagavatam is actually if you go chapter by chapter, we have gone through all the chapters previously as well. It's wonderful to have, go through these chapters. There are a lot of teachings which we get out of these of Bhagavatam, and also the purports Prabhupada has written. They have also such wonderful information and so many nice things in there. So we relish on those things. It's really nice to actually go through all these chapters one by one. A wonderful opportunity for all of us, even us. I'm speaking, but I'm still learning on this one. I mean, the more I read this one, more I read chapter 19, 18. I was bewildered, how many things I can go through just to prepare for. It's wonderful, actually. So just going back to chapter 16 and chapter 17, we have gone through already. So we know that in last chapter, Maharaj Parikshit was very angry with Kali when he met him, and he was actually beating the bull, who was actually in the form of Dharma. He had only one leg, and the cow, who is Mother Earth, other earthly deity. And Maharaj Parikshit was very upset, and he was very very angry with Kali as well. And if we remember in 16th chapter, when Mother Cow was actually talking to Bull religion, and she mentioned all the qualities of the Lord as well, 40 qualities, and I think if I'm not wrong, it's in 16th chapter 26 or the 27th shloka, number 26, I think. He mentioned about 40 qualities, transcendental qualities of the Lord, and it's a wonderful chapter, 16 and 17 as well. So he wasn't actually, if you look at Maharaj Parikshit, although he was very, very angry with Kali, he did not, and he wasn't envious with Kali. He didn't want to actually kill him, because Maharaj Parikshit was, he was such a nice devotee. He was always glorifying Lord, and he was Krishna's, pure devotee. So he was never envious to Kali. He knew that the Kali had to come, because if his Kali is coming, means he is also coming with permission from Krishna himself. So nothing happens without Krishna's permission. So he accepted it. So he wasn't envious. He was okay with it. Okay, Kali's time to come, let him come. So what he did is, in 17th chapter, he allowed Kali to come into his kingdom, and he gave him those places, which didn't have any place in his kingdom at all. So he said, okay, you can reside in the places where there's gambling happening, there's drinking happening, or prostitution happening, or animal slaughter happening. The 4 places, he said, you can stay there, because all those 4 places, they had no space in Maharaj Parikshit's kingdom. So he gave them those places, and he knew that these are the sinful activities, and no one in his kingdom was doing those activities. So he was trying to protect. He was allowing the Kali to come, but at the same time, he was trying to protect his people as well. So then Kali, as a nature, we are all in Kali. We are all greedy. We all know, we are all greedy. That nature comes from the Kali itself. And Kali was also greedy. He said to Maharaj, Maharaj Parikshit, you gave me 4 places, I need more. Every one of us do the same thing. We all always need something more and more and more. So he said, 1 more place. And then Maharaj Parikshit gave him permission to live where the gold is. So he asked him to actually, wherever the gold is, because gold is the reflection of falsity, intoxication, and the lust and greed, and enmity, envy. All these kind of things are there where gold is. So people are just fighting over the gold because it has its value. So Maharaj Parikshit gave him that as well. That's all coming from 17th chapter. Now in this chapter, in the chapter 18th, beginning of the chapter 18th, Suta Goswami is actually talking to all the rishis at Naimisharanya, and he was talking to it. Chapter 18 has 50 verses, 50 verses. So first 23 verses, he's talking to them, to the rishis, about how Maharaj Parikshit was born, and how he faced the destiny he had. He was cursed, and all these, what he did, and how was his, how he dealt with that kind of, when he knew that, okay, he's been cursed, how he dealt with that. He explained, and then he also explained that how Maharaj Parikshit was cursed. So we will go actually other way around, because before I go through what Suta Goswami said, to understand that one, we have to go to the previous, the last 27 verses, which is from number 24 to 50, where we understand the story first, what happened to Maharaj Parikshit, how he was cursed. That's the chapter, the name of the chapter is the same thing. So how he was cursed, and why, and then we will go through all the valuable information which Suta Goswami actually gave to all the rishis about the nature of Maharaj Parikshit, and how he reacted, and how we actually react in that kind of situation. So if we go through the story, so what happened is Maharaj Parikshit, we know that he was a grandson of Arjuna, and he was son of Abhimanyu, and his mother's name was Uttara. So he had large kingdom, and he was a very powerful king. So once upon a time, he went to for hunting in the forest. So he has all his bows and arrows and everything. So he went for hunting, and while he was following the stags in there, and he became very fatigued, hungry, and thirsty. So and he was looking for water. He said, "Okay, let's find out some water because I'm very thirsty." So he entered a place where it was a hermitage, or you can say ashram of a very famous rishi. His name was Shamika Rishi. So he went into the ashram of Shamika Rishi, and Shamika Rishi was there. He was sitting there with his closed eyes, and he was meditating. He was into kind of he was completely absorbed into bhakti and into position like in a kind of a trance situation of a trance. So Prabhupada also mentioned in this one, the purport of this verse when it all started. He said, the king that time, we can say why the kings were going on for hunting, why they hunt and kill innocent animals. So Prabhupada mentioned there that the kings used to hunt because not for killing the animals, because these dangerous animals were actually attacking the pure devotees of the Lord who were actually living in the wild forest and engaged in devotion for the Lord. And these dangerous animals were always creating troubles for those rishis and people who want to do their bhakti peacefully. And also they wanted, because they knew that evil things or the powerful persons like some devils or all these demons were all around, and they can come and always attack their kingdom to destroy the dharma from their kingdom. That's why, to keep them fit as well, they had to go for hunting and make sure they are perfect when it happens to defeat some of the demons to protect the sages. So the sage Shamika Rishi, he was sitting in there completely, his eyes closed, and he had only a skin, stag skin on top of him. He had compressed hair. His hair was all over the place because he was in that, the rishis or the sannyasis. We know that they don't need anything. They don't need the mirror to look their face into, and need the makeup and comb their hair and those kind of things. They are into a true devotional position where they only think about the Lord, and they only worry about the Lord only. So they worry about their own meditation and the devotion towards the Lord. So the king was very thirsty. So he asked him for the water, and his saint was like, he didn't know that someone has come, and he kept sitting and kept meditating. He didn't ever didn't know that the king is there. Now the king, basically, he came and he did not get any formal welcome from the rishi, from Shamika Rishi. So no seat was offered. He wasn't given any water. He wasn't given any sweet words, or no one talked to him there, and he felt himself as neglected. So as a king, he felt this rishi is he is deliberately doing all these kind of things, and he was thinking. And so Maharaj Parikshit, he became very angry. So when there's a Prabhupada mentioned in the purport of the, I think it's fourth shloka in this chapter. He said that law of reception, in our Vedic principles, the law of reception says that even if the enemy comes to your place, we must receive that enemy with all the respect. We must be, So he said, even if you're very, very poor person has some guest coming into his place, he must offer him, some nice place to sit, a mat if possible. Give him a straw mat, maybe, whatever, and give him water, and also give him some very sweet words, because sweet words do not cost anything to us. So sweet words, anyone can give. So these three things are mentioned by Prabhupada, that this is a Vedic principle. So he gave an example of Jarasandha also there. So Jarasandha, we know that Jarasandha had a fight with Bhima, and when Lord Krishna went there actually to Jarasandha and challenged him to fight with Bhima, he went with Arjuna and Bhima, and Lord Krishna was there. They all went to Jarasandha. It is said in the scriptures that Jarasandha actually came outside of his kingdom to welcome Lord Krishna and his two enemies, because they were there to fight and kill him. So even though they were enemies, Jarasandha came, and he was actually meeting them as he is meeting his friends. And then also he gave them actually proper honor. He made sure where they're staying is they have very comfortable stay. They have very comfortable food and everything. And in the evening, they were sitting like the friends. and Jarasandha was like, they were talking like the friends, but in the daytime they were fighting like enemies. So and we know that at the end Bhima killed Jarasandha. But just to explain, how nicely Prabhupada has mentioned that, Jarasandha's example is a wonderful example how we should actually receive someone coming to our place. So now, when Maharaj Parikshit, because he was a king of the whole world, so wherever he went, people always offered him royal respect, because he was a king. So he therefore expected that Shamika Rishi also come up, greet him, give him some, as per the Vedic customs, give him something to sit on and talk to him sweetly and give him some water because he was very, very hungry and thirsty. But sage remained still. He didn't do anything. He was sitting in trance, completely absorbed in his bhakti. So with his eyes closed as well. So he was very angry. Now, Maharaj Parikshit got very angry. Now, Prabhupada mentioned here that there's no way that no reason for Maharaj Parikshit to get angry because he was a devotee. So as a devotee, bodily demands actually they do not, they do not attract all the devotees. So he says Bhagavad Pradhana. So always devotees, foremost devotees of the Lord. His mind is the quality of the devotee's mind is that it's never anxious. So it's not hankering for the material things. It's never anxious. But with the desire of the God, if Lord wants something, such a devotee can actually be, apparently can get piqued and also thirsty, just to create a situation favorable to what the Lord wants it. So Supreme Lord actually never forgets his devotees. So in brief, so Lord wants to do something, he creates that kind of scenario where we feel, even if forget about us, I just wrongly said we are not devotees even, but good devotees, pure devotees, even like Parikshit Maharaj, they lose their, they lose, they have that kind of feeling that they feel hungry or thirsty or angry, only because, although they are devotees, but because Lord wants them to act in a certain way in that particular situation, so they do like this. And king was like, Maharaj Parikshit. Now we know that Maharaja Parikshit, in the next chapter we will learn about it in the next canto as well, that Maharaja Parikshit learned Srimad Bhagavatam from, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukdev Goswami. So if we see in that sense, Lord actually selected Parikshit Maharaj to become the medium for Srimad Bhagavatam, same as he did for Arjuna to be a medium for Bhagavad Gita in Bhagavad Gita. So he spoke to Arjuna, who was the grandfather of Maharaj. He chose him specifically for Bhagavad Gita, and he chose specifically Parikshit Maharaj for Srimad Bhagavatam. So that was a medium. So this way, Lord wanted that Bhagavatam to come to us. So basically, Parikshit Maharaj was going to be a medium through which we get the Bhagavatam. So now what happened? Now he was very angry. He went. He just tried to go away. So while he was leaving, he felt like I'm insulted. Not really he insulted, but as I said, it was Lord's will that he felt that kind of emotions in his mind. So he picked up. There was this dead snake, and he picked up the snake with a bow and then put around his neck on his shoulder, on the Rishi's shoulder, and then he went to his palace. So when he went, he began to think about it, like what he did. He was thinking, okay, was the sage actually in meditation? He was confused. He thought, he was in meditation, but then, all his eyes closed. He was not moving. He was concentrating on something. So what I did is definitely something a lower Kshatriya will do. So I have done very sinful activity. That's what he thought when he came back, because he contemplated, he asked himself questions, and he found out that he did something wrong. So never before of that, we know that King Parikshit was like, he was such a nice devotee. He never insulted or never shown disrespect in the past to any Brahmana. Or, and how come he thought, how come I did that kind of thing, insult to such a genuine Rishi, and he offended a Brahmana, and all the Brahmanas, we know that Brahmanas and cows are so dear to Lord Krishna. And he was very, very upset. Now, the sage on the other side, so when he went, he was upset and he was thinking about it. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't actually, concentrate at all. On the other hand, when Lord, that Rishi, Shamika Rishi, he had a young son. I think he was, I don't know the age, but I think he's about 12, 13 years old, young boy. his name was Shringi. So he was also, because he was his son, and he was also powerful, because as a father he gave him some powers, mystical powers. So actually he could do few things by himself. So he was playing with some boys, and then he heard from someone told him, oh, some king came and he put some snake around your father's neck, and he was and your father's been insulted. When he learned about all these things, he was kind of in his mind he was kind of abusive towards Maharaj Parikshit. He said, oh, all these kings are actually watchdogs for us. So he thought, we are Brahmanas, we are higher class, and these Kshatriyas, they should actually protect us. So they are, as a protector, they are watchdogs plus. But look at these people, they are now actually started insulting us. So he was very angry. So he said, okay, I'll punish whosoever has done this activity to my father. And what he did is he was like, so he said, okay, my dad's in, my father, he's still meditating, he won't do anything. So let me take this matter into my own hand and let me punish him. So let me now you all witness my power, he said to his friend. So we can see, because he was so young, he didn't know who Maharaj Parikshit was, what was the background of the whole incidents. But he was, he was just got angry because his father was insulted. It's a natural thing if someone's father is insulted, but he never actually then went to his father and asked him what he should be what should be done. But he took the things in his own hand and tried to punish Maharaj Parikshit by himself. So anyway, so he said, okay, let's now you all see. So what happened? He also said, because Krishna has now gone back to his abode, his dharma. So at the moment, because Krishna has gone, everyone here is thinking of himself as a supreme ruler, and and rather than being our protector, they are trying to insult us and misbehave with us. So that's kind of thought he had in his mind. So that rishi, so with his he was red-eyed and very angry. What he did, there was a river, Kaushika river, I think, around the place. So there was a river around. He took some water and cursed Maharaja Parikshit. He said that from the day today, 7th day from now on, this person who has actually done this kind of activity or this kind of misbehavior with my father, he will be dried and he'll be bitten by snake bird, who's Takshak Nag. What we say, he'll be bitten by Takshak Nag, and he will be dead after 7 days because he insulted my father. So this kind of curse he gave to Maharaja Parikshit without listening to anything, without understanding anything at all. So but the thing is, Prabhupada mentioned in the one of the verses, he said, it was all desire of the Lord. Maharaja Parikshit, if you talk about him, or Shramika Rishi or Shringi Rishi, they were all instruments in fulfilling the desire of the Lord. So they were all completing Lord's, he had the jigsaw, they were all actually fitting in there. So that's all Lord Krishna's desire, that, how Maharaja Parikshit is going to react, how Shringi is going to react. So none of them were actually, put into difficulty, because everything was done in relation to Supreme Lord Krishna. So what happened after that? He went to his father and started crying. So he saw the snake around his father. He was still in meditation. He started crying. This happens. When we do something, especially the young kids, when they do something wrong or seriously wrong, what they do is they cry at the loudest. So the more severe is the what we call the error they have done, or some kind of nuisance they have done, the more they cry, the higher they cry as well. So he went to his father crying. So the rishi, actually, if we go back in the Shamika Rishi, is actually he is from the Angira Rishi's family. So he actually he heard his son crying. He opened his eyes and asked. He saw the dead snake around his neck. He put the snake away and he asked his son that, why are you crying now? Because you disturbed my meditation. So I heard you crying. So why are you crying? So he asked him. He said, explain. So his son explained him the whole thing. Now, when the father heard all these things about the king, he although he should have never been condemned, King Parikshit was such a nice devotee, he wasn't there to be cursed at all. But somehow or the other, he been cursed. and he was amongst all the, he was the best amongst all the devotees. So Rishi actually, he was very upset with his son. And if you look at the material world, if someone in this material world do these kind of things, we are going to pat him, say, okay, well done, beta, you've done very good. But Rishi said, his son, he said, you've done really wrong, and he began to repent. He began to repent, see what his son has done. It's a great sinful activity that his son has done. So he was, he and his son has awarded such severe punishment for a very insignificant offense the Maharaj Parikshit has done. So he thought putting the snake around me is not a serious offense at all. I was in meditation, he didn't get the water from me, he didn't get the welcome from me, and this is natural for someone to get angry. And if he put a snake in that anger around my neck, so it be. So it's not a serious offense at all. But on the other hand, his son, obviously with the young age and the powers in his hand, he doesn't think that way. We have this in the Damodar Leela as well. We the two sons of Kubera also did the same thing. With the so much power and everything in their hand, they did not respect Muni, and they got cursed. We all know about. Similarly, so now he thought the Emperor Parikshit is such a pious king, and he's very highly celebrated. He's a top class devotee of the Lord, and he is the saint amongst all the royal people. And he has done, Maharaja Parikshit has done 3 Ashwamedh Yagnas, horse sacrifices. So he has done 3 of them, and he was such a king, and he was tired, and he was fatigued, he was hungry, he was thirsty, and the only thing he wanted is water, not a curse. So he was very, very upset, and he regretted the sin committed by his son. So he did not take the insult. The king did the insult to him, but he didn't take that seriously. But now, because his son has actually cursed Maharaja Parikshit, the sage was really, really very, very upset. So this is the first part of the story, actually in the second section of the chapter, where it comes at how Parikshit Maharaj got cursed. Now, in this chapter, beginning of the chapter, Suta Goswami is talking to the rishis, all the rishis at Naimisharanya, and he was talking about the birth of Maharaja Parikshit. And we all know that, when Maharaja Parikshit was in the womb of his mother Uttara, was his name, Ashwathama, he had Brahmastra left on him. And Lord Krishna went into the womb of Mother Uttara and protected Parikshit Maharaj. When Mother Uttara came, and he was actually about to go back to Dwarika when it all happened, and Mother Uttara actually, she came, and we know that verse is Pahi Pahi Mahayogin. So she actually prayed Lord Krishna and asked for forgiveness, and he saved Maharaja Parikshit. So now, Maharaja Parikshit, we know in this chapter, he also discussed, okay, that's the birth of Maharaja Parikshit, and Lord Krishna was there to protect him. Now comes the death part of Maharaja Parikshit, the final 7 days of Maharaja Parikshit. How, and he's going to be bitten by a snake bird, but he wasn't afraid because he was totally surrendered to the Lord. And, also, he also mentioned, Suta Goswami also mentioned that, first thing he said in 17th chapter, he allowed Kali to come. Some people can ask, okay, why he allowed Kali to come? He could actually have killed Kali straight away. But Maharaja Parikshit was, very foresighted. He knew that Kali is meant to come, whether he allows Kali to come or not, because he's coming with the permission from Lord Krishna. So he said, okay, let the Kali come, because Kali has 2 main qualities. The first quality is, in the Kali Yuga, it says the bad things will happen only if we do them. So if we do bad things, then the reaction comes in. But the good things will happen only by just thinking or desiring to do those good things, or just equivalent to them. So Maharaja Parikshit saw these 2 good qualities. Now we can see here. So what we do is, if we think about now, if we think, okay, we're going to go to the temple, serve Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, serve in the kitchen, do something, for the congregations, distribute books, spread the Krishna consciousness message. Even if someone just think about all these things, their Lord Krishna takes that to be done. So he says, okay, this person is thinking about this, that means this act is done. On the other hand, if we think about something bad, Krishna thinks, okay, he's thinking bad, but he hasn't done it yet. So let him do it, then only the reaction comes in. As far as he's thinking, don't worry about it. So see, so how good quality is there. And the third one, which is the Lord's name, is the Sankirtan movement. So what we do is, in the Satyuga or Treta or the Dwapar, all these yugas, all these rishis had many years, thousands of years of devotion, and meditating in the forest and doing some tapasya and all these kind of things. But for Kali Yuga, for us, it's very simple. Just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The chanting and doing the Sankirtan movement is enough. So and that's the vision which Parikshit Maharaj had when he allowed Kali to come. Now, because Parikshit Maharaj, we know the Krishna se adbhuta karmana. So Krishna always do adbhuta karmana. He always do so many things that we can't even believe that he can do it. Like he went into the womb, as I said, to save Parikshit Maharaj. Now, if he can go into the womb of Mother Uttara to save Parikshit Maharaj, can he not save Parikshit Maharaj again? He could. He's Lord himself. So even Parikshit Maharaj knew that Krishna could save him if he asked him to. So Parikshit Maharaj was never afraid. He knew that whatever is happening with Lord's will, and Lord had saved him when he was under the Brahmastra was coming towards him. Lord saved him, and if he has to be killed by snake, so be it. So that means it's also Krishna's will. So anything sent by God or Lord Krishna is a blessing for the devotee. So he was such a pious devotee. He said, okay, let me die in 7 days. I don't really mind it. And he was very happy when he heard that someone Pringi has cursed him and he has 7 days. He said, okay, that's the best, because now I can actually straight away leave my kingdom, leave my family, and go to listen to Bhagavatam and go to the river Ganges and stay there for last 7 days, just meditating and thinking about Krishna only. So we say, and Suta Goswami mentioned in one of the verses, he said, Narayana Parayana. He says the person, a self-surrendered devotee of the Lord, Narayan. So there are devotees of the Lord, so self-surrendered. So people who surrender themselves, because the pure devotees are not afraid, they are not bewildered about anything happens. So they remain steady, whether it's they get a disease or they get kicked out of the job or all these material things also. They have their head stable, and they remain very steady, and they advance in their devotional life also. They keep themselves connected to Krishna in all circumstances. So, because we think sometimes, I am a devotee, I wear tilak, I wear dhoti, I go to a temple, I distribute prasadam, I chant, I do this, I am a wonderful Vaishnava. Every one of us, we are all in the material world. That's the first thing we think, But what about the past karmas? We have so many past karmas as well. Krishna has all the account of our karmas as well. So it says, aham tvam sarv papebhyo mokshishyami mahashusha. So what Krishna does is he removes all the sinful reactions in proportion to the surrender we have towards him. So it's very important that he doesn't remove all these things, but he removes in proportion to the surrender we do towards him. If we are 100% surrendered, our sins are 100% removed. If we are 10% surrendered, the sins are removed only 10%. So the balanced baggage will still remain. We have to still pay for the baggage, excess baggage we have on us. So, as soon as Krishna says, I'm all yours, and we say to Krishna, I'm all yours, I'm all surrenders. What Krishna does, he takes away all the sins and keep it away. But, Prabhupada mentioned at one place, he said, Krishna takes everything away, but he doesn't actually destroy them. He doesn't burn all those sins because he knows that we are not the pure devotees yet. He waits for us to become a pure devotee, and then he burns all these sins. So if we step back or we do something, we go back to the old bad habits and doing all those sins, then Krishna releases those sins back to us. He says, you're not developing towards me and coming towards me. You're not surrendering towards me. So here your sins are. So then we have to bear all those sins, and we have to be we have to go through that miserable part of the life then. Because what happened is Lord Krishna likes people who are who remain stable all the time. So whether it's a sukha or dukha, they all, in all conditions, they all are all same. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karuna evacha nirmamo nirhankara sama dukha sukha kshami. So he said, anyone who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all the entities in this world, and who think that they are not the proprietor, and they have the no false ego they have. So they are equal in both happiness and distress. They are the people who actually are very dear to me. So Krishna is like a doctor. So you can say, Krishna. If doctors, sometimes give us injection as well, and we can say, oh, it's painful. Obviously, the injection is painful. It's not the sweet medicines all the time Krishna is giving us. He's giving the painful injection also. Why he's giving the painful injection? For us to actually learn from it, and also make sure that we are out of, our sins are, reducing, and we are more closer to, and we have more faith. So, if doctor gave us injection and we get cured, what we do, we are more devoted to the doctor. We say, doctor, you saved us. We say, oh, this doctor is very good. Same thing here happens when we say, okay, Krishna does something to us, and if we say, oh, we are curing ourselves, he's curing us, we should be more surrendered towards Krishna. So, but you know what, actually, the doctor knows which medicine to give to whom. So sometimes he give a very sweet medicine to one person, and you go to hospital, one bed he gives very sweet medicine, the other bed he say, oh, 3 injections to this person this evening. So that person may say, oh, why are you giving me 3 injections and good sweet medicine to this next, but that it all depends upon doctor. Here the doctor is Krishna. So Krishna gives us medicine according to our surrender. He says, okay, this person needs 3 injections because he has to develop more, and this person is developing, he has developed a bit, let him give him some sweet medicine also. So it's a token punishment which he gives to all of us from time to time. But we, as a material body, we say, Krishna has done this wrong to us. We don't look at the positive side of the situation ever. If you look at Mahabharata time, what's his name, Vidura, he was, basically he was chastised by Duryodhana. He told him so many bad words. He asked him to basically literally thrown out of the kingdom. He said, you go away because you are not on our side. What Vidura did? He just left. So he perfected his life, going through the holy places, meditating and creating more devotion towards Krishna. So he utilized that side. So he saw the positivity out of that negative thing he had in Duryodhana. Same with Vibhishana also. Vibhishana was, Ravana's brother. He was kicked out of the kingdom. So what he did, he could actually, do something else, but he went straight to Lord Ram, and he said, I'm in your sharan, so I've surrendered to you. So please forgive me and keep me in your at your lotus feet. So Lord Ram, make him his friend. He hugged him. So people who are pure devotees, they actually look at the positive things out of all these negative things happening around us. So here also Maharaja Parikshit, he said he's going to die in 7 days. He knew that he's going to die 7 days. So he thought, okay, positively now. He said, rather menting on that I'm going to die in 7 days, and also, okay, let's have an example. Let's put ourselves into this example. Someone comes and say, okay, some person has actually said some bad words about you. What will be our reaction? So my reaction will be, if I am Maharaja Parikshit, I'll take my sword out and go to hunt for that Rishi Shringi and kill him. So how dare he actually going to curse me? That will be the common man's reaction. And how we going to react? We're going to react very badly towards the situation, but not Maharaja Parikshit. He said, Shringi has cursed me. Very nice. Now those 7 days I have in my life straight away, because how I can perfect those 7 days so that I can go back to my Lord. So he didn't request the Lord to actually save him, which he could actually, but he didn't say that. So, that's why devotees always say, whatever Lord's wish is acceptable. So Arjuna said in 1873, Krishya Vachanam Tava, he said, whatever Lord's are you saying to me, I will accept it and I will do as you want. So, it's very difficult to find, also Maharaja Parikshit, himself devoted himself to Shukdev Goswami. In next chapter also we will say Shukdev Goswami came, and Sut Goswami is actually mentioning it in advance. He's saying, okay, he met Shukdev Goswami. In fourth verse he said he met him to listen and to perfect his life through Bhagavatam. And it is said that it's very difficult to find the Lord in the Vedic scriptures. If we go through all the Vedas, all the books, very difficult to find. The easiest way to find him, if we follow a good devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord. That's why we are all here. We are following the path which Srila Prabhupada has told us. He has translated so many books and we follow that. We read those books. We follow that path which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown us. So and that the same thing Maharaja Parikshit did. He followed what Shukdev Goswami did. So so what happened is, so we as we go deeper and deeper into Bhagavatam. It's like we have to. It's a ripened mango. Pibat Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. So it's like a rasam. It's a rasa. So it's full of nectar, full of rasa, full of taste. So as the beauty of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that if one has been steadily reading it, he is going to have more and more and more rasa every time he reads it more. So even Rupa Goswami once said, he said when you get very, very old, very aged, very invalid, trembling, frail, and he said, don't worry about it. He said, don't worry about all this and don't get discouraged that your body is failing, because the body is what? It's just a covering of the soul. So from soul, you should be connected with Lord Krishna, with your devotion, and always surrendered to Krishna. Remember Krishna. Whatever the body says is painful, or you can't eat, you need to walk, you need a stick to walk, or whatever the situation is, we should always be like surrendered to Krishna in all circumstances. He said, don't let your body to preoccupy your mind, because these keep us away from remembering Krishna. So when we have our mind preoccupy our body, then the problem starts. So overall, when Prabhupada also mentioned in one of the purports, he said, Supreme Lord is so kind to his pure devotees that whenever the proper time comes, so he called them to himself, because he also needs Lord also needs the devotee association. So he calls of them. So he called this time. He's calling Parikshit Maharaj. Now Prabhupada mentioned two nicely word, which I actually highlighted in my reading as well. He said he creates Lord Krishna. He creates an auspicious circumstances for the devotee. Now I was reading it and I was laughing as well, because Prabhupada uses so nice words in such nice context that you can't go away from those words at all. He said auspicious circumstances for the devotee. Now if we, as a material body, ignorant people, we can always ask, what's auspicious about it? Maharaja Parikshit got curse that he's going to die in next 7 days, and he had to leave his kingdom all of a sudden. What's auspicious about it? But the auspiciousness in this one is that it's all happened because Krishna wanted to bring him closer, and also not only closer very quickly. That's why he only gave him 7 days. Because what happens? Because he wanted to bring this Srimad Bhagavatam to this world, so that we can actually all benefit out of it. So we can actually align our thought to what Krishna's will is, so that devotees, it's all auspicious, and we can all have follow each other, and then follow Krishna consciousness. So anything related to Krishna, Prabhupada said, is auspicious. That is why the association of the devotees is also very, very auspicious. So even Lord Krishna had said, he said the association of the devotees is far more valuable than the Krishna himself. So Krishna, why I was reading it someplace. It said why Krishna come to this earth planet, because he also wanted some kind of association from the devotees. Otherwise, he was sitting in Golok Vrindavan. He could kill actually when he doesn't have to come as a Lord Ram or Lord Krishna to kill Kamsa or kill Ravana. He could actually, from there only, he just see it Ravana, and Ravana is gone. And he look at Kamsa, and Kamsa is gone. He came as a small child, go to Dwarika, and in Vrindavan, and then and Mathura, and then to Dwarika. So he did all these activities because he wanted to enjoy that connection, his connection with the devotees. So and that's why they say the association of the devotees is actually more important than the Lord himself. So in one of the verses, it's same chapter, 18th chapter, what we are doing, number 13. Suta Goswami actually mentioned. He said the value of the moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot even be compared to the attainment of the heavenly planets or liberation from matter. And what to speak of the worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, and which are for those who are meant for death. So Suta Goswami mentions that there's nothing important than a devotee association. These days, we all know that we are missing all this devotee association. We used to go to temple, we used to have programs everywhere, we used to meet people, but now it's so restricted. But as a devotee, as said in this chapter as well, we should be positive. We should be thinking positive that okay, it's COVID, we can't have the association, physical association, but we can still mentally connect. Zoom is the one we are connecting at the moment, or different platforms, but we are still trying to connect. So this is okay. So, and also, Dhruv Maharaj also said in one of the verses, when he met Lord Vishnu, he said, Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvai me prasango. He said, what I need is only thing I need is association of the devotees. He said, remembering you is very easy when we have association. So we all know about it. So when we go to temple, before the COVID times, I'm talking about when this temple hall was full, lot of people dancing, kirtan was going on. Do we remember that we had to go back home and do something at that particular time? No. My answer is no, because as soon as we come out of the temple, we say, oh, tomorrow I have to go to office, do this, do that. But as long as we are in the temple hall, doing the kirtan, dancing, and we never think about that. Okay, we are not connected. So we are always feel connected when we are in association of devotees. So it's said that more valuable than the association of guru is the association of the disciples of the gurus who are serving the guru. So this is a very nice actually statement. They say, if you want to have association, good association, better than guru is the association of those people who are actually serving the guru. Because if you go and serve the guru, you may make small mistakes, and you may fail to please him. But if you follow those people who are actually already serving Guru Maharaj, and then they can tell you, okay, this is right, this is wrong. You can follow them, and that gives you more actually enjoy and bliss to serve the Guru Maharaj. So I'll give you a very nice, lovely incidents. What happened is once His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he was in Mumbai temple, and he was walking through the temple corridors. There was a Mataji working in the kitchen. She came out of the kitchen, and Maharaj, and she bowed down and in front of Maharaj. And Maharaj said, so are you not very fortunate today? So you're cooking for their lordships. Are you not very fortunate? And she said, no, Maharaj, I'm not cooking for their lordships. Actually, I'm helping one more Mataji here, Brahmin Mataji, because I'm just first initiated. I'm not the second initiated. So I cannot cook for the deities, but I'm helping a Brahmin Mataji in the kitchen. So I'm just helping here basically. I'm not cooking myself for the deities. So Maharaj said, he said, then that means you are even then more fortunate than before as well. So Maharaj said, then you are more fortunate, and he left. Maharaj left. Now this Mataji was very confused. He couldn't understand what Maharaj said. He said, I'm cooking, I'm very fortunate. Now he's saying I'm assisting, I'm even more fortunate. So she was confused, and she asked some senior devotees in the temple, and they actually explained to her that what Maharaj meant. Because she became the servant of the servant, she was fortunate. When she was cooking, she was fortunate, but when she was assisting, she was even more fortunate because she was behaving as a servant of the servant. So such a nice, Maharaj did this thing. So Lord said in one of the verses, I think it's his 9th canto. He says, Lord said, Bhakta Jana Priya. So he said, what to talk about my devotees? Even those who are devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. So very, very nice statement. So there are people who are assisting the devotees. They are actually dear to Lord. So all the time, so like the Sut Goswami, his goal was to please Krishna all the time. And all the rishis gathered there, they were trying to listen from him and get his association as well, so that they can also be satisfied. So, his situation was like, the Sut Goswami, he was always glorifying Lord Krishna and Guru and all the disciples. They always work towards the happiness and happiness of the Guru as well. So these days, we have, we can see people doing the motivational talks to work harder, stress, motivation again. What happens? So we go for a motivational talk, and they say, okay, how to remove the stress. Once there's no stress, then you can work more harder. So what happens? We go to the motivational talk, we work hard, we get stressed again, we come back to the motivational talk again. So but in the Krishna consciousness, it's a different story. So the more we go into the Bhagavatam and the reading of these nice books which Prabhupada has written, it's so wonderful that we are never stressed. So it's one-off motivational talk basically. So if we go through all these things which Shukdev Goswami actually mentioned, so he also said that Maharaja Parikshit was such a big king. He had one big kingdom. He not only inherited the kingdom from his grandfathers, but he also had kingdom by himself. Also, he actually had 3 Ashwamedh yagnas, and he sent his horse out, and all these kings in the world, they actually they surrendered to him, say, okay, you are our king. So he also extended his kingdom, and not only relying on his grandfather's kingdom. So, but when he left, so when he knew that, okay, he's only 7 days, he's been cursed, he left. And what he did, so he left his family, he left his kingdom, only one cloth. He said, okay, this is a loin cloth. He had only one cloth, and all these things he left, and one cloth. He went to the river Ganges, sit there, and started thinking about Lord Krishna himself. He said, okay, in 7 days, only thing I'm going to do now is to think about Lord Krishna. So just to we'll do chapter 19 tomorrow as well, but for the chapter 18, this is the whole conclusion. So if we look at the nice points coming out of this one, we know the main points of chapter 18. Obviously tomorrow we'll go through chapter 19 as well, but from chapter 18, if you look at it, so the first thing we talk about the Narayana Parayana. So we know that, okay, we should always be surrendered to Lord Krishna. Then we knew that, okay, how Parikshit Maharaj was born, and how then he got how he got cursed. With the 3 advantages we talk about, they're very important for all of us. So what happens is, so those 3 benefits which Kali Yuga had, 3 advantages of Kali Yuga had in this one is, simply by thinking, you can, just thinking is enough. So I'm not saying that we just think, okay, I'm going to temple chanting 16 rounds and that be it. We still have to endeavor, we still have to work harder towards it and make sure we do it. But even if you can't do somehow you can't go to the temple, do something, but at least you're thinking about it, that is good. But if you're not doing anything wrong, that is also good. If you some thoughts, these days in the material world, you go out for shopping, you can see those butchery shops around. People are, they have the meat and everything there. You can't close your eyes. You have to have, look at that sometimes. It just come in front of you without you asking for it. As long as we don't eat meat, follow all those 4 principles, we are fine. Good things, we are just thinking, it's fine. So in Prabhupada also, so what we should do also is we should recite Srimad Bhagavatam to actually have, it says, we should actually, why should we have Srimad Bhagavatam recitation? To have actually arrest Krishna in our own heart. So once we read Bhagavatam, Krishna is arrested. It's very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It say, Dharma projit ketavota parmo nirmatsara nam satam Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatryo anumulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kirte Kimva Parerishvara Sadyo Hridya Varudyatra Kritbhi Shushrusubhi Tatshanad. It says, as soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by the culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established in his heart. So what we did for the last 1 hour or so, we were looking at it, we were listening to the nice katha which Suta Goswami is telling all the rishis there, and we were trying to understand that why we do this, because Janti hi Sumedasa, because all these intelligent people are only those people are intelligent who think about Bhagavatam only. So we think about Bhagavatam and we indulge ourselves into the serving Lord Shri Krishna. And obviously Krishna is then arrested in our heart. He can't go anywhere. So we have a jail in our heart for Krishna. So that's a target for all of us. We should actually look for it and try to do it. So thank you all for being here for last 1 hour or so to listen to all these beautiful times of Krishna. I'll be here again at 7:30 tomorrow, same time, and we'll go through chapter 19. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ जी की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।